Tony Fleming from Fleming's Ultimate Garage. Thank you for joining me on today's video. Probably one of the most expensive Mustang convertibles we've had. You say, Tone, that's a very beautiful car, but how is it so expensive? How is it so expensive? It's not a GT, it's not a Shelby. Agreed. However, it is a beautiful restoration. What you'd have to pay for this car today, the restoration costs the same, and you get a free car. It's amazing, right? This is the only way to buy it. Let someone else restore the car, spend all the money, they drive it for just a little bit, right? And you get all the benefits of all that and not have to wait 2 years to get it done. Doing a restored car, like from front to back all the way through, is like a full-time job. It's expensive. This one here is loaded with options, loaded with stuff. For instance, it's got the pony interior, it's got the upgraded wheels and tires, it's got the upgraded transmission, it's got factory air conditioning, it's got on and on and on of stuff that's on here, and it's really, really not only optioned well, but the detail stuff of the restoration, the underneath of this car is probably as good looking as the top of it. It really is. When you see it, you're gonna be like, oh my God, you're right. It really is great. So let's do this first. This car is correct coded for this color, right? This is the way it would have come off the showroom floor. It's a premium as well. So the premium means that it gets the upgraded interior, door panels, seats and all those good things that are inside, the wood grain on the dash, right? This is what you'd want. You want a classic car that's still original and classic? This is it. All right, so we need to talk about quality of paint. Why? Well, because everybody can paint a car. You're like, Tone, I've never painted a car. How could I? Well, I mean by that is this, is that the prep on this car is where paint is done best. And here's how you know I'm telling the truth. If you've ever fixed a nail hole at your house, right? You sanded it, you thought it was all good, and then you painted the wall and you could still see the work that you did. It means that your prep was not very good, right? And that's what shows up when prep is not good. You don't get mirror finish paint like that. So if you're looking right now, you can see the ceiling in this paint crystal clear, as well as every word on here is like mirror finish. And I say mirror finish because it's crisp and you can see every letter and it's fabulous. Not to mention this is an original candy apple red coated car too, which is super cool. All right, so why do I think that you should get a car that's all detailed under the hood as well? Maybe you're not going to put your hands in here. Maybe you're not mechanical and don't even care to do any of that. Maybe you'll never even go to a car show. But the truth is, like when you see a car that's detailed like this underneath, okay, in the engine compartment with the little things, right? It says to me that somebody took the extra steps and efforts. For instance, we have the correct washer bag in here. We have the correct emissions and timing decals in here. The block is blue. The valve covers are chrome. The air conditioning compressor, everything's not spray bombed black, right? And everything in here seems to be new, detailed wiring, horns, battery topper, stuff like that. You say, Tone, it's got horns, so what? Why would you even waste a second on that? Well, because 8 out of the 10 cars we get, there's never any horns in the car. I don't understand who is driving around in this crazy traffic that there is today in this amazing car that everybody is staring at and doesn't have any horns to warn the people. Here we have all that, and we got all this luxury stuff. We have power disc brakes, right? Power disc brakes. You say, well, that sounds normal. Shouldn't you have that? No, there was no power and there was no disc brake. That was standard, right? You had to pay for that as an option. This also has power steering. Power steering was an option, right? We're going on and on about how many options are on this car. It's loaded up with stuff. So this car has the added GT package on it, right? So we looked at the tri-bar grill in there with the fog lights. We have the trumpet tips the way they're supposed to, which means they had to change the valance, they had to add these trim rings, they had to change the exhaust system, they had to do all this stuff to convert this car over to have the GT package, which looks really nice back here. It just adds a nice touch when it comes out here versus just pointing down, all right? Then new bumpers, new bezels. You can see clearly how shiny and beautiful the paint is. The correct red boot. The red boot is correct for this car because the red is on the top of the interior. It has parchment two-tone interior, and so you could have parchment or red, your choice, but here we have the red boot. Then the detail stuff, right? The trunk is painted. This is actually over restored. Well, what does that actually mean when you say over restored? Well, what it means is this: is it's nicer than it came from the factory. For instance, this was just painted satin black back here. Here it's painted all the way through. It has the correct trunk spring on it, which leaves the trunk open, right? Many of these trunks fall down because people don't go to the extra effort to replace those parts inside. It has a spare tire. Most of the cars we get don't have a spare tire, and here you're getting all that. And then it just, when you close the trunk, it just sounds good. All right, so you're walking up to your ridiculously good-looking convertible, and yes, it's great looking from the outside, but you know what you need to see? What it looks like inside, because that's where you're going to spend your time. All right, so as we get into the car, what I want to talk about is this. I want to talk about game changers or life changers. Just for a second, humor me. When you offer this, right, you offer this for another couple to get in the back seat, or the kids to go for a ride with you in this car, and you guys go out to dinner, or you go to a winery, or you go have some fun in something, it's different, man. I don't know how to explain it to you, but just the rumble, the feel of a classic car is different. I love modern cars, right? Today's modern car is the best car ever built, but this is different. It has a feeling that you just can't get anywhere else. In this car in particular, it is loaded up with stuff that you may not even notice. For instance, it has the two-tone interior, which we talked about at the beginning, the air conditioning system. This has a console, which is optional as well, upgraded AM/FM stereo with kick panel mounted speakers that are down there, okay? The wood and stainless 3-spoke wheel, like it goes on and on, day-night mirror, like all this stuff's restored, beautiful new carpets, new mats, detail, the switches, power convertible top. We didn't talk about that, right? This has it. That's not standard on these cars. Again, another big option on here. And the reason I get excited is because when I see a restoration that's done well, for instance, when the doors open and the console light is on over here, the door lights are on over there, like that's a detail stuff that takes extra effort to get done, and somebody's done a good job doing that. All right, so we close up this video. I've spent a lot of time talking about the restoration level, and I've also talked a lot about the amount of options on the car. And the reason I spend time on that is because we see these every day, and they are such a big difference between levels of restoration and levels of options on cars too. The one thing I want to say to you is this, which is kind of fun, is when you get a restored car like this, you can make some changes to it that make it your own. For instance, if you don't like the idea of the white walls, right, you can do double red lines, right? Or you could do white letter like BFG radial TAs, something like that, as well as add the rocker stripe that goes on here. That doesn't devalue the car. The rocker stripe is a decal. It comes off, and the tires are great looking. You should check online to see what they look like out there. Red lines, white letter, stuff like that. It's just cool. Anyway, this is an awesome, awesome car. I think you'd really love it. Call us 301-816-1000. We'll tell you all about this. And if you don't mind, please hit the like button down below there. Subscribe to the channel. Get new stuff coming out all the time. And share with your friends. I think they'd like the content too.